Hello and welcome to our Arma 3 presentation. So, jumping straight into it, let's take a look at our new underwater environment, which we're aiming to be just as rich and immersive as our other terrains. So, how are we going to deliver that? Well, there's the more obvious details like vegetation, a detailed seabed, then of course there's the fact that we're in our wet gear. But you can also notice the little things, the new sound effects, the visualizations, caustic effects on undersea wreckage, the occasional fish, and other water life besides that. But what does it really mean for the player? Well, it offers a different dimension to the battlefield. A whole new set of tactical options like infiltration, sabotage, which hopefully we'll demonstrate now. Coming up to the surface, we can see an enemy camp guarding our targets, two optimal boats. Approaching it directly in my current gear isn't going to end well for me. Instead, I've got the option of taking a uniform from a guard and infiltrating the camp undercover. All I need now is a target. Okay, that was convenient. Once he's down, I can approach his body and take the uniform. A small point, I know for a fact that creative director of Arma 3, Ivan Bukta, has himself personally spent a lot of time gathering reference material to ensure total authenticity of soldiers in their underpants. But moving on, you can see that I've changed the uniform to appear as an OB4 regular, which enables me to go into their base unnoticed. The perfect disguise. Alright, but what does this actually mean for the player? Again, it's about flexibility, a degree of customization in terms of uniform, headgear, backpack, ballistic protection that we just haven't seen before in our previous games. It's not about forcing you to play my little dress-up soldier, rather it's about giving you more tactical options, more ways to take on your objectives successfully. So here, I've just attached a charge to the vehicle, another new feature of Arma 3 for those paying attention. And now I'll move to the OB4 camp itself, where hopefully no one will bother me. Now normally this guard would attempt to engage me. Also, he might have a problem with me hijacking his car. Some nice details to note in our interior. I think we feel a lot more connected to the vehicle now with animated gauges and our hands moving on the wheel. So, now all that's left to do is touch off the bomb and we can GG info. Before moving on to our weapons customization, I think it's worth taking a look at our environments a little more closely. This sequence of shots shows photos of the real-life Limnos in comparison with some places in our game. You'll notice it's not 100% accurate, but our focus is on delivering authenticity, making our world feel real without constructing an exact replica. Photo references are also a great way of preparing textures, plant signs, those little details which really drive home the general feel of the place that we're trying to recreate digitally. So we've talked about some details, and now we can go on to explore the full scope of the environment a little more. The best way to do that is to see the island from high above. As you can see, we've got volumetric clouds. They occlude the ground and add to the feeling of flying a jet hidden in the cloud. So let's talk about the terrain a little. Below us you can see a small abandoned hotel resort on the coastline. This is one of approximately 50 villages that we're striving to recreate in-game. And changing course, we'll approach the largest town on Limnos, the Marina Androni agglomeration. It consists of several hundred models and even includes a medieval castle for which you might have noticed we have something of a fetish for. Alright, now we get a chance to see our towns from the ground level, talk a little about the campaign and meet our main character, Captain Miller, who's been inserted behind enemy lines and is currently sporting 2030's very latest civilian style. So, Arma 3 is set in a semi-post-apocalyptic future war, a small battle in a much greater clash of civilizations. The war has been raging for too long now, and the world is in its corresponding state, mostly ruins. As part of the single-player campaign, the A3 team plan to add RPG or adventure elements involving things like getting information from the locals via conversations. Captain Miller is alone in enemy territory and forced to cooperate with a range of characters, some more palatable than others. You'll be able to get directions, important information, world background, or even side missions from the locals. Here, Miller's just received information about a certain Nikos from one of the locals. It's worth taking a second to notice the level of detail from the villages. The same places that you saw from above, but this is how they look from the ground. So now we're approaching one of the NPCs, Nikos, a local profiteer. He's a good example of how the main NPC should look in the game, richly detailed and quite expressive. Here he's making excuses for not delivering some of the weapons he's promised and sends Miller off to check on his driver. That affords us the perfect opportunity to explore the village. It's worth mentioning that unlike most first-person shooter games, Arma 3 is not a corridor experience. You can walk around through any building. That means backyards, shady alleyways, backtracks. They're all designed with a similar attention to detail as the main avenues and military bases. The campaign will reflect this, featuring an open sandbox-style gameplay, offering the player an unsurpassed level of freedom, the kind that you come to expect from the Arma series. Okay, now we can finally get to the good stuff, our customizable weapon. This soldier with his EBR and combined weapons sight will demonstrate how the in-game customization influences gameplay. You'll hopefully see that to hit a target 30 to 50 meters away with this setup isn't any problem at all. The targets further in the distance, however, are something a little different. For these targets, you'll have to lie down, steady your aim. You'll have to alter the zeroing, zoom in, and even then, it can be a challenge to hit the target. So, instead of a combined weapons sight, I'll use the sniper optics and also reload my gun. Note, the invisible magazine is not a future weapon, just something that the guys will need to fix before release. So, let's see how we do now. You see the optics have changed, the zoom's improved, and my results are much better at this distance. Note the zeroing in the top right hand corner of the screen. Zeroing compensates for bullet drop. If I change to 300, I won't hit much, because my bullet goes above the target. Similarly, if I change it to 500, I need to aim below the target to actually hit it. Back to 400 then, and I hit exactly where I need. The same goes for the grenade launcher, which is maybe a little better suited to display the ballistic curve. I'll take a MK20 grenade launcher and set the zeroing of 200. Here, I'm not going to have much luck hitting the group of targets that's only roughly 100 meters from me. Notice we've got some awesome reload animations now, and if I adjust my settings, then it's tears before bedtime for the targets. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is the shotgun. I think this helps us to demonstrate that we've now simulated several pellets, and it too has a new reloading animation. Alright, now let's talk about special weapons. The one I've got here is a GM6 Lynx anti-material recoil rifle. Notice the recoil animation. It has thermal imaging optics, so when I look through it, I can see this Hunter off-road vehicle there, I can see its glowing engine, and when I hit the engine block, the car is immobilized. Now let's talk about anti-personnel bouncing mines. When they're triggered, they first jump up to approximately 1.5 meters and then explode. Pretty nasty stuff, to be honest. But conscience aside, we've planted the mine, and now from a distance we can observe the enemy patrol closing in on it. Simulation has been slowed down for your viewing pleasure. Observe how the mine actually jumps up before exploding. We're also planning to include tripwires, directional charges, and more destructive options for your tactical needs and wants. So the last part of our special weapons presentation is the artillery support. I've got 2 artillery units in my team. I can order them to fire at these 2 tanks. High explosives, burst of 4. Now, it takes some time before shells arrive, as the units are about 5 clicks away. In the meantime, let's take on some ragdoll animations. Note how he's dropped his gun before he's falling, and there's another, and he's down. The artillery round should be well on their way now, so let's just observe the havoc. Okay, here's the first pair of rounds. Second. Third. 1 tank down. 4th and the 2nd tank down. Notice the rounds also destroy the environment. Next, we'll see what we've done to improve the vehicles. The headline story is obviously the physics simulation, but again, looking closer at the details, notice we've also added postures, so sitting is less rigid, more natural and relaxed. Switching to third person, we can see our new particles, improve visual effects of the water, and how the ship reacts to the waves. The collisions are more realistic than in previous titles. We're tweaking these right now for the ground vehicles, and you should expect a demo of these in the near future. Last but not least is a presentation of combat, gameplay our fans enjoy the most. This simple mission, where the player fights for an enemy-occupied village, can be put together in just a few minutes in the editor. We've strung together some scenes to illustrate the variability of just one scenario over several replays.
Enemy, man, front, 50 meters.
Enemy, man, 50 meters. Engaging.
Hostile down 1. Check your fire. 2. Engage that man. 4. Engage.
Hostile down.
3 is dead. 1 is down. 4 taking command. Meters.
2, 4. Engaging target. Enemy man, 3 o'clock, 50 meters. Man is history.
1 o'clock. Enemy man, 100 meters.
1 o'clock. Enemy man, 100 meters. 3. Engage that man.
He's down.
Enemy man, right, 50 meters. 1 o'clock. Enemy man, 100 meters. 2. Engage that man.
2 o'clock. Enemy close.
2, 4. Engaging target.
3 o'clock. Enemy close. 3 o'clock. Enemy close. 3. Engage that man. 3 o'clock. Enemy man close. 3. Engage that man. All. Danger. Team, move 50 meters. 12 o'clock. Target eliminated.
Enemy man, front, 100 meters.
4. Engage that man.
12 o'clock. Enemy man, 100 meters.
Alright, for those of you still with me, this is all we've got to show for now. So thank you for your time, and as usual, you can keep up to date with all the latest intel on our social channels and YouTube with Arma 3 Official, and of course on arma3.com. Bye for now.
But this is one continent on the map. We started off roughly here, and we were fighting around here in that air battle, and then we drove down here. So throughout the course of the demo so far, you guys have seen about, I don't know, 1/20th of the entire map. And you guys will notice that each one of these regions that gets highlighted, these areas can all be owned by the different empires. They're color-coded based on the empire that owns them currently. We're fighting over this one in particular. And the way this is set up is, as I own these pieces of territory, I get bonuses towards capturing pieces that are adjacent. So you have an always moving front line that's constantly getting updated, and you're fighting in different areas of the map all the time.